"You don't own anything here anymore." He said it loud enough for the lawyer to hear, for the neighbors in the hallway to pause, for my hands to start shaking. That sentence ended my old life. I was 23 when my mother died, still learning how to be an adult, still saving voice notes because hearing her laugh made the grief hurt less. I stood in that office, wearing a black dress I'd worn too many times that month, clutching a folder of documents I barely understood. Across the table sat the man who had married my mother 8 years earlier. He didn't look at me when he said it again, slower this time, sharper. "You were never entitled to anything. The small mistake that cost me everything." Here's the part people always misunderstand. I didn't steal. I didn't argue. I didn't cause a scene. My only mistake was trusting that a will written years ago would protect me. My mother had told me, casually, lovingly, "I made sure you're taken care of." I believed her. What I didn't know was that grief makes people impatient, and power makes them cruel. How he took control. Within weeks of the funeral, he changed. He stopped calling me by my name, started referring to me as the girl. He controlled the house, the bank accounts, the documents. When I asked questions, he smiled the way people do when they're sure no one will stop them. "You should be grateful I'm letting you stay. Grateful for sleeping in my childhood bedroom like a guest waiting to be asked to leave." The moment I knew I was alone. One night, I overheard him on the phone. "She doesn't know anything," he said, laughing softly. "She'll sign whatever I put in front of her." I pressed my back against the wall, heart racing. In the living room, my little half-brother, 8 years old, sat on the floor drawing pictures of our family the way it used to be. I didn't say a word, not because I was weak, because something in me knew, if I reacted now, I would lose everything. When humiliation became public, the lawyer meeting was supposed to be simple. Instead, it became a performance. He slid papers across the table and spoke for me. "She has no claim. She's emotional. She misunderstood." I tried to speak. He raised one finger. The lawyer looked at me, not unkindly, but said nothing. That was the moment humiliation burned into my chest. Not because I lost money, but because I was erased. The line that changed everything. Outside the office, an elderly woman, my mother's old friend, touched my arm. She had been silent the entire meeting. Then she said quietly, "Your mother planned further than he thinks." That was it. No explanation. No promise. Just enough hope to keep me standing. Strategic silence. I stopped arguing. Stopped asking. Stopped defending myself. Instead, I listened. I found old emails, handwritten notes, a safety deposit receipt tucked inside a cookbook my mother loved. I prayed, but not the desperate kind. The quiet kind you whisper when you're done begging and ready to trust. When heaven moved without warning. Months later, the call came. The other lawyer, the one my stepfather didn't know about. My mother had placed assets in a trust, untouchable without conditions he had already violated. Conditions documented, witnessed, time-stamped. Everything he'd taken, everything he'd hidden, it wasn't just exposed. It was returned. The fall he caused himself. I didn't confront him. I didn't need to. The court documents did that for me. The house was sold. The accounts frozen. The confidence drained from his voice the first time he saw me again. He looked smaller. Not punished, revealed. The quiet ending. I moved into a small place of my own. Nothing fancy. Nothing dramatic. Just peace. Sometimes I think about how close I came to reacting too early, to shouting, to losing. And I realize now, he didn't lose because I fought him. He lost because I didn't. People think revenge has to be loud, but sometimes heaven handles it quietly while you're learning how to stand again. And if you've ever been robbed by someone who thought you were powerless, just know this. Silence doesn't mean surrender. Sometimes it means preparation. Backhand index pointing right, let this story strengthen your faith. Backhand index pointing right, share it with someone who feels like they're in the fire right now. Backhand index pointing down, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to spread the message of hope and faith.